Hi y'all, welcome back to another mini lesson. In this mini lesson, we will talk about crafting body paragraphs in an argument essay. Let's first look at the components of a body paragraph. The body paragraph is divided into 5 sections, and we've come up with a cute little way for you to remember called ACIT. The A stands for answer, C cite, E explain, I ingeminate, and T top it off. In order to have a robust body paragraph that fully supports your claim, you should have all 5 of these components. The first sentence of the body paragraph will be where you answer your claim or state a reason for your claim. You should also be able to find this one reason within your thesis statement. This sentence also serves as the topic sentence for your paragraph. The second sentence in your body paragraph is where you will cite your source. This means you can use a quote from a source that specifically supports your reason and claim. If your quote is 1 or 2 sentences, that's fine. Try not to choose a quote that's much longer than that, otherwise, it will confuse your reader. Next, you will explain the quote that you just placed in the cite section of the paragraph. While you're explaining your quote or your evidence, consider these 2 questions. How does this show that the reason supports my claim or answer? And why is this evidence important? When choosing a quote to insert into your paragraph, be very intentional about why you're choosing it. Is this the strongest piece of evidence I can use? Having a bunch of weak evidence is not as solid as having a few pieces of super strong evidence. So I strongly encourage all of you to take a look at your evidence and use the strongest bits. After you explain your first piece of evidence, you will use the next 3 sentences in your body paragraph to repeat the cycle of cite and explain. Basically, you're going to introduce a new piece of evidence that supports the reason you've introduced in this paragraph. So, let's say that a different way to make sure everybody understands. The 5th sentence will be used to transition to a new piece of evidence or quote. The 6th sentence will be the actual piece of evidence or quote. And the 7th sentence will be to explain with commentary. Explain why that piece of evidence is important. The final sentence in your body paragraph will be your conclusion sentence. The purpose of this sentence is to restate the reason and position from this particular paragraph. Not for the entire essay, but from this paragraph. It's a way to bring everything together for the reader. You might also think about this as a way to leave the reader with a lasting impression for this particular reason. Before I talk to you about what your task will be for today's lesson, I want to be sure you understand that you'll need to repeat this entire process 3 times. You'll need to go through the ACE-IT process for each of your 3 body paragraphs. That means you'll have 3 paragraphs that are about 8 sentences each. One paragraph per reason. According to our ACIT template, for each reason, you will have 2 pieces of evidence. Good luck working from home. Alrighty, folks, here's your task for today. Using a graphic organizer like the one pictured on your screen, or if you so choose, you may design your own graphic organizer. Start thinking about your body paragraphs if you haven't started them, or examining the body paragraphs you've already written. Be sure each body paragraph has all 5 components. If you notice that one of your paragraphs is lacking something, now is the time to revise your writing and enhance your argument. I will be available today during your mini lesson via email if you have any questions. If I see that multiple people have the same question, I'll start a group and we can chat there. Happy writing! Pause the video while you work on your body paragraphs. When you're ready to start your counterclaim, press play. Let's discuss counterclaims. Counterclaims have 6 components. Think of the word faucet. You turn it on to get your water every day to help you remember the pieces or parts of a counterclaim. The first component of your counterclaim is called Feature the Other Side. This sentence kicks off your counterclaim paragraph by describing an expected objection to the writer's claim. For example, in the previous lesson, we talked about chocolate milk and vitamins and minerals. There could be a counterclaim that chocolate milk is not a strong source of vitamins and minerals, and therefore schools should not serve it. That is an example of a counterclaim. Following the feature component is the affirm component. In this section of the counterclaim, you are going to give a direct quote, or we might call it evidence, for the counterclaim. This evidence would be what the opposite side of your argument would use against you and your claim. Next comes the underscore component. Underscore the essay's position. After stating a piece of counter evidence, you are going to restate the essay's position. That means the claim that you are making. Remember, when restating the claim, you want to say the same thing, but in a different way, using different language. It doesn't have to be completely different, but it shouldn't be the exact same sentence that you have in your introductory paragraph. It should not be copied word for word. Once you refute the opposing viewpoint, you will then come to cite evidence that supports your claim against the counterclaim. This should be a direct quote from the text that explains your position or your claim for your essay. Remember, this should be linked to the reasons stated in your body paragraphs. The fifth component of your counterclaim is explain the commentary. This looks very much like the explain the commentary we used in the body paragraphs. You will show how the evidence supports the reasons, and how all of that supports the claim. And you'll have to discuss why this particular piece of evidence is important. Remember, you should be choosing the strongest evidence you have. The final piece of the counterclaim paragraph is your conclusion sentence. This final sentence will restate your entire essay's position, which is your claim. Remember, you don't want to just copy and paste the sentence you used earlier. You want to write that in a different way, not using the exact same words over and over again. When you do that, it makes your writing repetitive and boring. I'm not saying you have to reinvent the wheel, but be creative so that you're saying the same thing, but not using the exact same words every time. Okay, folks, it's your turn. Take a moment to either write your counterclaim paragraph if you haven't already, or look at your counterclaim paragraph and revise your existing writing to strengthen your argument based on the pointers presented in this mini lesson. Happy writing!